This is the news.
Yeah, so we are going to have a chat, basically, about a news article that was published yesterday. I don't know if any of you saw, but on our social media, we did a post about it last night.
Shall I read the
15th.
post?
Yeah, how do you want to do it? Should we read the article first, or the post, or...
No, let's read the post, and then maybe take some sections from the article rather than read the whole article. Okay, so the post that happened yesterday by the Untitled Chapter project was: everyone in this world has amazing individual qualities, should be treated equally, should be listened to, is different, is beautiful, has a contribution to make, and in an inclusive environment will make it and be valued for doing so. So, there was an article in The Guardian, which I'll link to in a moment, and what we're thinking about, or encouraging people to talk about, is what does it say about the accepted values of our society? Who has the right to decide that one life is more valuable than another? That the life of a person who happens to have a learning disability isn't worth fighting, a learning disability label, isn't worth fighting for. And we'd like to say we're shocked by the article, but not surprised. So what we're encouraging is a transparent debate, and we want to be a part of it. So we linked it to BBC Spotlight, BBC Radio Devon, Heart FM, the Department of Health and Social Care, and The Guardian as well, so The Guardian newspaper. So quite a few things. The reason that we linked it to The Guardian newspaper is because that's where we saw the article.
So this is the headline. The article was from The Guardian, and the headline is "Fury at Do Not Resuscitate notices given to COVID patients with learning disabilities."
So do people know what "do not resuscitate" means?
No.
Okay. Do you know what "do not resuscitate" means?
Yeah.
It means don't help them get their heartbeat going again.
Yeah. So it means "do not resuscitate" means that if someone dies, that they don't bring them back. They just leave them to die.
Most likely it would be near death.
Yeah. So "do not resuscitate" is normally something you choose yourself. So if I, for example, fell really ill and I thought I was going to come back and not be the same person, I might have already chosen to not be resuscitated. So instead of people choosing to have a "do not resuscitate" order, other people are choosing for them, and it might not be something that they actively want, so they don't get a say in it.
Yeah. So essentially, it goes on to say then that MenCap, the charity, said it received reports in January from people with learning disabilities that they have been told they would not be resuscitated if they were taken ill with COVID-19. So,
but is it specific learning disabilities? That's the thing.
I don't know. I don't know if that's...
Or is it all?
I think what the article was talking about was about how carers can not listen, and also how people can be misunderstood and misinterpreted by professionals, just essentially by not listening. So instead of people saying this person isn't worth their life, let's not resuscitate them, what they're doing is not understanding what someone would want, or not interpreting what someone says accurately. Shall I read the article? So people with learning disabilities have been given "do not resuscitate" orders during the second wave of the pandemic, in spite of widespread condemnation of the practice last year and an urgent investigation by a care watchdog. MenCap, as in the big charity, said it had received reports in January from people with learning disabilities that they had been told they would not be resuscitated if they were taken ill with COVID-19. The Care Quality Commission, so CQC, so the people that regulate all care homes and care in the home, said in December that inappropriate do not attempt, cardiopulmonary resuscitation notices had caused potentially avoidable deaths last year. So those notices are usually made for people who are too frail to benefit from CPR, but MenCap said some seem to have been issued for people simply because they have a learning disability. The CQC is due to publish a report on the practice within the coming weeks. The disclosure comes as campaigners put growing pressure on ministers to reconsider a decision not to give people with learning disability priority for vaccinations. There is growing evidence that even those with a mild disability are more likely to die if they contract coronavirus. So this isn't because it's more deadly to some people than others, this is because of how it's being managed. Although some people with learning disabilities, such as Down syndrome, were in one of 4 groups set by the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation, which the government promised would be offered the vaccine by tomorrow, so that's now today. Many were, by today I mean the 16th. Many were classified lower categories of need and are still waiting. NHS figures released last week show that in 5 weeks since the 3rd lockdown began, COVID-19 accounted for 65% of deaths of people with learning disabilities. So that's for every 10 people that died, over 6 of them are dying because of COVID.
Man.
Yes. Figures from the Office of National Statistics show that the rate of general population was 39%. So for everyone else, it's 4 in 10. Although the two statistics are drawn from different measurements, so they might not be entirely comparable. Younger people with learning disabilities aged 18 to 34 are 30 times more likely to die of COVID than others the same age.
That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Does that add up?
That means me then.
Yes.
Yay. I'm going to be more careful.
Yeah.
Alright.
I was being careful already.
Well, how does that make you feel, that statistic then?
Mad and scared.
Mad.
I'm worried that actually I was like, I didn't know anything about this, and I was like, oh, if I get COVID, I'll just be like other people. But now I'm hearing it, it sounds like
Do
I'm
you
gonna be
think-
dead.
Are you any less healthy than me?
No,
No.
no. The interesting thing is though, I think in some ways, like if you got really, if it's for like older people, they say they don't want to be resuscitated anymore because they're old. If you got like a really bad like illness or something, I think that's different. But like just saying any disability at all, like that's mad. But like if it was like one like that was killing you and you got COVID, I don't know.
So I won't carry on reading the article, I just picked little bits from it. So part of what it says is, so you're not actually any more
No.
likely to die than I am.
Ah, phew.
But what it's, in terms of like health and stuff, but it's in terms of accessing treatment, accessing vaccinations and being listened to.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, you're
Quite lucky because I've got my parents.
when you've got, you use conventional speech,
Yeah,
you're fit and healthy.
Yeah.
I think that's the
And part of what it says here is about lack of badgering, and it actually uses the term badgering because people are asking for vaccinations and then not getting them. So Rebecca, like you for example, you didn't get yours immediately. Yeah, didn't get it straight away because of other problems. And if
What, my first vaccine?
yeah, tell us about your vaccine, Rebecca, if you don't mind. Did you get it when you wanted it? Did you get it straight away?
Not at first, but yeah, the nurses from New Valley Practice came here
So I think they missed you out, didn't they, to begin with? And then they changed the doctor that needed to provide it as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
So I think it took 3 attempts.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So do you think
So,
if your mum hadn't hassled them, do you think you would have got it, or do you think you would have been forgotten?
probably forgotten.
Yeah. So that's the kind of reason why there's more risks for people with learning disability and autism labels, is because, well, at least that's what the Guardian's saying and the BBC were saying, is because as a group of people, you badger people less and are more used to being disappointed and let down, maybe, as well, which is sad.
Because thinking of like people who live on their own who have learning difficulties, like some of those won't be able to talk to their doctors unless like their doctors are really good. But
Or
like
if they're effectively supported.
yeah, but not everyone has that. Definitely,
Oh,
like probably
yeah.
places up north where it's a lot poorer. But then I heard there are in some way other countries the worse. It's like when my dad he was working in Romania, and that was awful, like really awful. Like they don't help people with learning disabilities at all. They just let them, I guess, to die.
So one of the paragraphs in this says a spokesman from the Department of Health and Social Care said it is completely unacceptable for do not attempt CPR decisions to be applied in a blanket fashion to any group of people. This has never been policy, and we have taken action to prevent this from happening. So my question is, if you do have a blanket do not attempt CPR, is that genocide?
What do you mean?
What?
Genocide is killing people, isn't it?
Yeah. Genocide, the definition of genocide: the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. So if you're to blanket have a do not resuscitate on people with learning disability or autism labels, is that a form of genocide?
Yeah.
Yeah. And our country shouldn't do that, but sadly other
No
countries-
country should do
I know
that.
no country should, but sadly some do. Sadly.
Yeah, they're talking about that. Yeah, like say whether it's an issue of neglect, I suppose, isn't it?
Oh, massive.
Yeah.
Whether it's just neglect or because the genocide would like imply a bit more of a pre-thought out
Murder.
thing, wouldn't it?
Well, if you've written off an entire group
Maybe.
of people.
Then
Yeah.
that is genocide, and yeah.
But what they're saying is that's not what they've done. What they're
Yeah.
what although that is, in my opinion, what I've taken from the article, what it's saying. I think it's encouraging the Department of Health and the NHS to defend what's happening and to ask CQC why it isn't being regulated and managed and monitored more effectively, I think. But yeah, I'd call that a genocide if that's what was happening.
Yeah.
If it did happen, hopefully it won't.
Well, what it's arguing is it is.
I think it.
Intentionally or not. I mean, the intentional bit might be what stops it from being a genocide because it's unintentional, in which case it is just neglect.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if that's in plan and that's what's being talked about, I think it is genocide because people are talking about it, of having it there, and it's like, has people really thought through about what the repercussions could be?
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting statistic in here as well that was saying the Office of National Statistics, like I say, that 6 in 10 COVID deaths overall were people with a disability.
Has any other like news outlet said anything about it?
Yeah, so it's all over the news yesterday. This is just one select article, and most of it is kind of the same quotes because it's come directly from the Department of Health. So this article has been updated twice since it's been published with additional references and quotes. One of the things that it does say that we've missed out is that basically fewer than 2 in 5 people with a learning disability label live until they're 65, which is much less than the national average. So what could be happening is this could be pointing out a problem that's across the board. If
But
you're
yet
not
again-
listened to, if you're not understood, then your healthcare is going to be worse.
Yeah, again, it's not just learning disability. People with learning disabilities that can die before the age of 65. People who live bad lifestyles could, and you don't see them having DNRs put on them, like addicts and all that. You don't see
Or
them.
people who have mental health issues.
You don't see them being put on DNRs by the government.
Because what it seems to be suggesting as well is that it is about that communication thing, isn't it? So like that bit about noticing that something's wrong, like maybe a carer noticing something's wrong, versus being written off as part of their behaviour, which is interesting. So it's essentially you just don't listen to the symptoms that someone has. You just go, that's
it's
just
behaviour.
Or don't listen to that person. That person could be trying to tell you and let you know. I'm
Yeah.
sure they are.
Abby, go on.
So, like my mum and me, we were actually talking about it last night when she got back from work, and it was really interesting because one thing that kept coming up when we were talking about is the Mental Capacity Act.
Yeah.
And all that, because it's obviously if you have mental capacity, you have the right to make your own decisions, and what they're doing is they're basically throwing it away. They're not either A, assessing people for mental capacity, or B, asking them what they want. They're just basically putting it straight on there without asking, without assessing, and they're going through all the back routes and not.
Yeah, totally. That's a really interesting point about mental capacity act.
Maybe that's why, like,
That's what
in
Abby was
other
talking about
in
yesterday.
other countries,
With my
like,
mum, because she,
saying essentially people aren't what was you saying?
people aren't being assessed for mental capacity, and like they're just having decisions made for them, and they probably do have capacity.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
I mean, from you have to assume someone has mental capacity
until
proven not to. So. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is everyone on here familiar? The virtual people, are you familiar with like the Mental Capacity Act? Do you know what that is? Ian?
My support staff sometimes have training on that.
Yeah, good.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is though, Ian?
It's the Mental Capacity Act. I don't know what it is. Could you explain it to me, please?
Sure. Do you want to?
Yeah, okay. So the Mental Capacity Act is a way of I guess something that makes people aware of when people can and should be making their own decisions. Everyone's entitled to make their own mistakes, and everyone's entitled to get things wrong and get things right. So you're in control of what you want to do.
Yeah.
So
Right.
the only time when that really isn't the case is when you're a child, because then your parents have mental capacity kind of for you. Or if you demonstrate that you don't have mental capacity, which will be, really extreme short-term memory loss.
Yeah. So it tends to be things where you can't maybe, let's say, weigh up decisions, or maybe you
can't justify it, can you?
Yeah.
So you might not speak, you might not be able to write, you might not be able to hear, you might not be able to see, but you still can have mental capacity. Those things don't necessarily impair your judgment or your capacity to make decisions, whether they're wrong or right. So the mental capacity and do not resuscitate, and the legal link between the two is a patient must be involved in do not resuscitate decisions if there is a chance that CPR would be successful, provided also that the patient has mental capacity and that they're willing to discuss the matter. A patient is entitled to refuse involvement in making a do not resuscitate decision. So if you're really, really old and CPR is likely not to work, the decision to not do it could be made without your involvement because it's likely not to work.
Right.
So I guess maybe that's the link. And
justification for it.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Kia, what are you saying?
I'm saying, like people, like, people don't really understand because people can't talk. Because, like, he can't talk because, you know why? Because they need, like, signs. When, like, you know what I mean? Like, people can't talk. Like, saying, I really don't know what a lockdown is. Because to me, like, people, like, ask people, like, lockdown thing, like, people can't talk, but sometimes really can't stay, and sometimes can't hear, and there's some in his road, like, or like,
no, absolutely clear.
Like her, you know, like my friend named Poppy. It's not girl's boy. He's my friend from Snap. Yeah, but like this crutches. He can't walk. He have like walk the legs, but he can't walk. It's like you know that means like a doctor. How people it was saying about like lockdown and sometimes you can't talk, you can't see, you can't hear. You don't be able to stand and saying.
No, absolutely. So this is part of the mental capacity stuff and choosing and helping people to make choices is helping to give people the information properly so they can understand it. So so if it means signing or if it means something written down or if it means pictures or if it means something, that's part of the point is giving people the information in a way that they can understand it and communicate back. So you still have a choice. And if people aren't doing that, they're sort of failing a bit.
Taking people's lives without permission.
Yeah. Joe.
And sometimes people can't talk.
It's true.
So, Keir, Joe's got a point.
One thing I don't get though is like, you know, the doctors have oaths and stuff about like saving lives.
Prolonging.
Yeah. Surely isn't that more important than pulling the plug in a way?
So, a do not resuscitate order is meant to be something that allows you to have a dignified death.
No, but if it's their choice, should they be the people who should just say, like, resuscitate every time, even if the person, like, if the person hasn't said anything, and surely because of this oath thing they've done, I just can't see doctors who have the choice and who probably do value life because that's why they've gone into that job.
Yeah. So I think that the oath is about prolonging life, isn't it, rather than prolonging quality of life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that right?
I don't know. Let's look it up.
Whereas
again, if it's
DNRs are meant to be so that you can have a dignified death. So if it's going to prolong your suffering rather than prolong your life, that's when you should have a DNR.
But would that also count as assisted suicide?
Because that's not what you're doing. You're just allowing people to die naturally rather than bring them back. Yeah. And so a DNR is normally to stop prolonged suffering. So if you were to bring someone back, it doesn't
there could be
necessarily mean they're
complications.
well again. It might just extend essentially their suffering.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is quite a hard topic.
Yeah.
And it's been well over 5 minutes.
So I'm going to read something from a news site specifically aimed at people with learning disability and autism labels and kind of like the social care people. And then I think we'll call this done, and then we'll move on to other sections.
Yes, more fun stuff.
More fun stuff.
I don't want to be sad.
So the reason I'm reading this is because
not me.
Although this is obviously in the spotlight at the moment, this isn't the first time something like this has happened.
No,
definitely not.
So this paragraph kind of gives a bit of numbers about recently when this has been the case. So it's headed Learning Disabilities Mortality Review Report. So overuse of DNRs, so do not resuscitate, for people with learning disabilities was also highlighted in 2019's English Learning Disabilities Mortality Review report, which examines how people who have a learning disability have died in the last year. Obviously this is a medical thing, so it doesn't use the language that we would use, I'm just reading it as it is. Of the 1,875 deaths of adults reviewed in 2019, for whom the data was available about DNR decisions, 72% had such a decision. So 72% of the people that died that year had DNRs. Reviewers felt that of these, only 78% were appropriate, correctly completed and followed. So it means out of all those that had do not resuscitate, 22% of them were not ethical, legal, joint decisions, whatever. So that's like 1 in 4 people did not get resuscitated, and that's not necessarily what they wanted. Of the reviews of deaths completed in 2019, 13 reviews noted that learning disabilities had been included as a reason for not resuscitating. That's just unbelievable. But the report did note that 11 of the 13 people had died before May the 20th, 2019. Some stuff. Basically,
that's our government.
Before May the 20th, 2019, citing that learning disability or Down syndrome for a DNR was legal and okay. That got changed then.
Why?
I don't know.
I want to talk to Boris.
So in 2019.
In 2019.
Before 2019.
Before
It was
the
okay.
20th of May 2019.
If you
Before
had-
COVID happened, in a way.
So a guy called Professor Stephen Powis,
That's
a
awesome.
national medical director, sent a letter to senior. This is just a bunch of words I can't say. Clinicians, reminding them that the terms of learning disability and Down syndrome should not be a reason for issuing a DNR decision. So it's something that people shouldn't have been doing anyway, but it's something that people were doing.
Because there wasn't a specific law against
It's
it.
like
I guess not.
it's like in the very olden times.
It doesn't necessarily say that it's now anyway.
It's in the olden times, like the Spartans got if their babies were ill, they just left them on the mountain to die.
Oh no, that
Yeah, but I know.
that basically stopped in the 50s.
Yeah, but that's no.
Okay, well I don't
Well,
no,
people
Anyway,
used
so
to
let's leave it on that note. So basically, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. We would like to be part of a bigger discussion about it. The statistics are horrible. It would be nice to see some positive statistics.
Should we
and talk about the differences between people that are labelled as disabled and people that are not labelled?
We could
as
do
such.
interview with try and do an interview with
Well,
someone.
yeah, it'd be nice to have an interview with someone from MenCat, from The Guardian, from Spotlight,
Yeah.
maybe with a local radio station, maybe a national radio station. It should be
From the
a
government.
national, if not international, conversation. Ready?
Yeah.
Give us a jingle. Do you know what a jingle is?
No.
It's like it's like an introductory song.
Hello, welcome to Joe's Happy Mukbang. Today I got my chicken Caesar salad.
That was beautiful. Thanks, Joe. Okay.
Gonna do a bit of
This is.
ASMR.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get down. Yeah. People are gonna love that. Okay, so this is episode 1 of Joe's Healthy Mukbang on our podcast, obviously in video form as well. Joe, what is this section? What's a mukbang?
This is my a mukbang is when people eat quite a lot, but we've changed it because we want to be healthy.
Yeah.
So I got my chicken Caesar salad. Today I've got my normal bread, so I'm gluten-free intolerant, so I've got some gluten-free bread. Not like one of those normal people who like get their baguettes and cut it up. I just got some toast.
Very good, very nice. So this section is a mukbang. Joe's gonna basically eat and talk at the same time, which is normally disgusting, but it's something that we found is apparently really popular on the internet since like 2010 or something.
Yeah.
So this is now part of it. This is our healthy eating Joe section. So Joe, who are you?
I'm Joe. I'm part of the Turning Tides. do supportive working here, and I like food.
Okay.
That's why I'm doing this.
So hopefully in this podcast, each section is going to be about 5 minutes long. So we only have to listen to and watch Joe eat for 5 minutes. Cool. Tell us about what you're eating then. Homemade, isn't it?
So this is homemade. You can get some stuff like this from Tesco's, but they're not as good as homemade.
No offence, Tesco's.
So everyone's chicken Caesar salad is different. With mine, I've got a bit of chicken and some cheese. But this isn't any cheese. This is, I can't remember.
Parmigiano.
Parmigiano. But you can put probably Parmesan cheese in.
So, Joe, in what year was Caesar salad invented?
It was invented in 1924.
Oh, nice! I'm impressed. I was thinking I could just catch you off guard. Where?
Mexico.
It was. But was the guy Mexican?
No, he was an Italian immigrant who had restaurants in America and in Mexico.
He did. Yeah, nice. Very good. Very good. Okay. What used to be in a Caesar salad, but now isn't?
Anchovies.
Oh, interesting. Good. 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 What else? Give you a clue. Food poisoning.
Raw egg.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it used to
Because
put raw
the
egg.
no, not the Mexicans, the Italians like raw eggs because they want to get buff. and
I'm not sure that's
and
the
they
real reason.
also want to stay longer, like they want to live longer.
So what's healthy about a Caesar salad then?
You've got your salad.
What salad's that one?
This is a romaine
Yeah, romaine lettuce. Nice.
lettuce.
Caesar salad is blamed for the increasing growing romaine lettuce, single-handedly.
You got your protein and your chicken.
Good. What's protein good for?
Oh, I remember this.
You've already said it.
Muscles.
Yeah, it's good for... It's what you need to grow your muscles. It's also part of what makes you feel full up.
Mm. And then you got some bread, and that's got like, I guess starch.
Carbs, isn't it?
Carbs,
Carbs, so it's good for energy. Sort of healthier than sugar, but still important
And
for
then
energy.
you got your fats as well in your cheese.
Wicked. I think we should give things marks out of 7 as well. So in lunchtime meal land, 7 being the highest score you can get, 0 being the lowest score. How do you rate your Caesar salad?
A 4.
A 4?
Yeah,
Right in the middle.
because it could be better.
What would make it better? Healthy things.
Anchovies.
Yeah?
Yes, that would be nice. Because oily fish is really good for you.
Yeah, omega-3. Good for your joints and stuff.
And no, I don't know. No, maybe a bit of that Parma hamness, or all that different types of ham that they put in this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right, let's give them a bit more ASMR. Is that the right acronym? I think so. You're in a bowl of salad. You got a jingle for ending it as well.
Hello and welcome back.
For ending
Never
it.
mind. I mean, goodbye everyone, and stay tuned for our next podcast when it comes out. I will make something nice. Yum.
I've chosen a poem that's sort of
Cool.
about spring,
Spring.
because March is spring. It's like the start of spring, I think.
Okay.
Okay, so it's called Today. by Billy Collins.
Ooh,
So,
Billy Collins.
ooh, Billy Collins. So,
Who is Billy Collins?
well, he's a poet, and he wrote a poem called Today, and it's about spring. And I was wondering if we could write a short little poem about today and see if it would be any different.
No,
Right.
I don't like paperwork.
You don't have to write anything, Andrew. We can just talk about it and write a poem collectively. Right, so this
What
is
does that mean, collectively?
all together. Yeah. So this is the poem. See what you think and what your favourite bit is. So it's Today by Billy Collins. If ever were a spring day so perfect, so uplifted by a warm, intermittent breeze that made you want to throw open all the windows in the house and unlatch the door to the canary's cage. Indeed, rip the little door from its jamb. A day when the cool brick paths and the garden, bursting with ponies, seemed so etched in sunlight that you felt like taking a hammer to the glass paperweight on the living room end table, releasing the inhabitants from their snow-covered cottage so they could walk out holding hands and squinting into this large dome of blue and white. Well, today is just that kind of day. Ooh.
I'm still trying to get my head around the whole thing, Rod.
What do you think it's about?
I mean, it's cold outside. It's not a particularly spring, is it? It's making me tired. I don't like this cold weather.
I think that's kind of why I chose this one today as well, because it might try and remind us that there is spring is on its way. Because today's cold, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't like
Freezing
the
cold.
No, it's freezing cold. What's the weather been like today for you?
Has like -2 sometimes, -1 sometimes, -3.
So if we had to, so this poem then, what was it? This is about like basically the perfect spring day.
What is a paperweight?
What is a paperweight?
It's to hold papers with.
Yeah. So it's almost like those, snow globes.
Yeah.
Like the things that you shake and they've got the little people in them.
Yeah.
Snowing inside.
Andrew's got one of them.
Do you? That's cool. So this guy's saying it's such a sunny day outside that you want to take a hammer to the paperweight, smash it, open it up, let the little people inside the snow globe run out into the spring day.
But look outside, there's no blue sky at all, it's all white.
That is true. I thought this might make us. So if we were going to write one, what about like today? What could we say?
Tired because we don't like the walking around in the cold and it gets me tired.
All right, the tired walking around. Our reworking then of the poem by Billy Collins. So Today by Billy Collins. This is our version based on today. Why do we have to start with winter? Tired of walking in the freezing cold bluster.
Yeah.
That makes you want to close all the windows and have hot soup. Fill the rabbit's hutch with lots of straw to snuggle up and sleep. Worried about losing teeth, biting cold frostbite. Keep the people in their snow globe. They might not come back again. Lost in the white dome outside. Who invented winter? That sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Not bad.
Hello and welcome to Mindfulness. This is a new section of the podcast that will be at the end of each podcast every month. I'm Abby.
I'm Ben.
My screen name is Major Tomlinson because it's cool and fun. So this month we will be doing some breathing techniques to start off, so just as a basic introduction to mindfulness. So first we're going to start off by getting relaxed, getting in a comfortable position. Then we're going to close our eyes. We're going to breathe in, hold for a bit, then breathe out. We're just going to repeat that a couple of times. So breathe in and out. Let's do it one more time. And in and out. And as you do this, let your mind become blank. Let's breathe a couple more times. In,
1, 2, 3.
Out. In and out. Maybe imagine yourself in a cloud. Let your body become weightless. You can breathe a couple more times. In and out. In and out. We're just going to open our eyes gently. So that's the introduction to breathing. Next week we hope to do some yoga. We're going to end up having it with audio description, and we're going to do it sat down so everyone can join in the comfort of their home from feeling comfortable. By the way, this will all be on YouTube, SoundCloud and Mixcloud. Check out our Instagram, our Facebook and all our other socials. Yeah, see you later.
Epic NW.